Eugenie was one of 2 British locomotives built for the Exposition Universelle held in Paris in 1855. Summer 1855 was perhaps not the most obvious choice for an international exposition, given the Crimean War was in full swing, but it did distract the Emperor Napoleon III from going out to the Crimea to command his army in person. The locomotive was named, of course, after the glamorous French Empress Eugenie de Montijo, the wife of Napoleon III, and she was one of the most beautiful and indeed powerful women in Europe. Eugenie, the locomotive, not the Empress, was built in Manchester by William Fairbairn and Sons to the patent of James McConnell. Although there is a Manchester link with the Emperor Napoleon III, as during his exile he spent some time in Manchester. Eugenie the locomotive had 7 feet diameter wrought iron driving wheels driven by a pair of inside cylinders measuring 15 by 22 inches. Working boiler pressure was 117 psi. Suspension was from a series of rubber discs rather than leaf or volute springs, but this idea wasn't new, as the enormous 424 tank engines of the Bristol and Exeter Railway, designed by Pearson, had rubber suspension. French observers, whilst admitting inside cylinders made a locomotive more stable at speed, thought, however, the combination of inside frames, inside cylinders and inside valve gear intolerable in terms of access and maintenance, and they weren't wrong. What was unusual about Eugenie was the coal-burning boiler. McConnell provided an enormous firebox, which was divided with a longitudinal water-filled mid-feather, which reached to just above the firebars, thus creating 2 separate fireboxes, which were to be fed alternately, so the volatile matter from one fire would be burned by the flames and the incandescent mass of coal on the other. From here, the combustion products were led into a large combustion chamber where it was hoped they would mix and be properly combusted so as to prevent any smoke. Finally, there was a bank of 414 tubes, 1¼ inches in diameter and 6 feet long. Another unusual feature of this boiler was, in order to maintain a low centre of gravity whilst also allowing for the crank throw, the underside of the combustion chamber had a pronounced upward bulge. This was complicated to make and keep watertight, and in the words of one French observer, rendered the lower bank of tubes pretty much useless as it impeded the airflow through them. A further complication of the design was a steam dryer in the smoke box. The French judges thought it was all very clever and awarded the locomotive a medal, but it was just too complicated. As a British import, Eugenie was compared somewhat unfavourably with the Crampton. On trial in Britain, Eugenie was found capable of hauling trains weighing 75 tons at 40 miles per hour and of 60 tons at 45 miles per hour. In France, under test, Eugenie was found capable of running express trains at over 50 miles per hour. She was taken into stock by the Chemin de Fer du Nord, painted in their lovely chocolate brown livery, and giving the running number of 164. Eugenie could have been a really useful engine, but the overcomplicated coal-burning boiler would prove problematical to maintain, requiring frequent and expensive repairs, and as a result she only had a short mainline career. The influence of Eugenie on French locomotive building practice was probably nil, other than to confirm French preference for outside cylinders, outside valves and outside valve gears. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, please leave a comment below to get the conversation started. Please also like, share and subscribe and click the notification bell. If you would like early access to Rail Story content, you can do so through supporting Rail Story on Patreon, and I look forward to seeing you all next time on Rail Story.